the half end of a black rowboat symbol. That is supposed to indicate the location of the Coast Guard station right next to us. So it's a pretty darn accurate reference point for ourselves. Yeah. We started just to the left of this here. We got on the water. We went underneath the Coast Guard dock and paddled just to the right of remote passages. Entering Duffin Passage here, started our ferry across towards the Dead Man Island and Beck Island here. We tucked behind that barge, which was tied up just off the edge of the mudflat. All of these gray-green areas here are mudflats or are beaches. So for example, down here, you have Frank Island, Cox Bay, Chesterman's Beach, Mackenzie's Beach, Tonquin, Middle Beach, and Duffin Cove. On the opposite side of the peninsula, enormous mudflats, great for bird watching. This is the expanse of mudflats that you could walk across Sloman and the Arakan on. So we made our passage over here, hit the edge of the mudflats by the Dead Men. I talked about the bald eagle's nest and the burial practices. We could see Opitsit off in the distance, as you can still see it right now before the clouds come down or it gets covered by rain and fog. Behind it was Lone Cone. It's not visible anymore. The cloud cover's a little too thick. I'll slide the chart down here so you can see this larger portion of it. That is Lone Cone up there, and off on the right-hand side is Mount Colnett. So it's kind of claw-shaped, with lemons in that running up the middle. Coming back down to this little guy here, we traveled between Beck and Stone. Beck is where we saw that kelp crab, we saw the sea jellies, we saw some of the first orange sea cucumbers, picked up that honk and ochre sea star in this little cove here, and the leather star. I took a look at it. That's also where we bumped into that big old fried egg jelly. I was pretty lucky. Continued on our way here, crossed over to Stone, saw that eelgrass and the little clams squirting water out of the beach, went around the corner of Stone here, a little bit more current, nice and low, good to look at the intertidal life. This is little cove here, we saw a float structure. This is Stockham, where that trading post used to be a long time ago. Continued along the edge of the mudflat here, looked over towards Sloman where we saw those two boats, the Arakan Islands. The oyster farm's up this way over here. I believe it's just up in here, if I'm not mistaken. It's been quite some time since I've been out that way. We traveled along the edge of the mudflats, seeing more fish jumping and rippling, boats coming and going, crab traps scattered about, lots of little crabs going around, lots of little jellies today. It was nice to see. And Morpheus, perhaps haven't seen each other for a little while. That's where that cemetery was. Oh, yeah. We had that boat pass by us a couple times in the channel between Nielsen and Morpheus, creating some challenging waves to experience. I picked up that red rock crab, who was about to mate with a female. I'm sorry. Again. We made our way around the southern point of Nielsen here, where we experienced that challenging current. Got around the corner of it. It was much easier right away. And we took a hard right and looked up into the trees, and we were finally able to peg down that juvenile bald eagle. We took a photo or two, I don't know. Continued along our way over towards Arnett Island, which used to be for sale. Traveled through Duffin Passage again, back towards the Essowiston Peninsula. You can see Chevron is the company that did it, or does, at one point in time, own Method Marine, the fueling dock. Traveled along the edge of that. Before that, I pointed out where I used to live, over here where the G said, is pointed out. G represents gravel, the substrate that makes up that beach. You see the same thing on these other locations. M stands for mud, SH, shell, BO, boulder, S for sand. So you have all sorts of different substrates making up a multitude of different styles of flats and beaches. Came along the businesses in town, around road passages underneath the Coast Guard dock, and back safe and sound here. Yeah.